Reagan, now available everywhere. How are you, Robert? Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for having me, Neil. And I think I'm okay.
Yeah, no. The thing that's really cool, Robert, is that
No,
ultimately your fans of your as an actor has gone, your tribe of people that love you, and then finally you get a project like Reagan because you've talked politics before on this show, especially even to kind of bring up how important it is, and now Reagan. What a perfect time for this movie to come out. What a perfect time to talk about almost the same situation that we were in the Carter administration leading up to this election.
yeah, it's prophetic. There's so many interesting parallels to what happened, and I remember the Reagan era very well, and I remember the discontent and the slurs that they left put on Reagan back then. And now I can talk to some of these same lefties who are voting for Kamala Harris. And they, well, we voted for Reagan and we love Reagan. I said, but don't you understand? There's the same thing happening right now, even the assassination attempt. And I think it's a fitting time for the film to come out, but also the danger that we see in our country today is frightening. And you know, the last thing Reagan said when he left office, Neil, and he said it was the most important. And I wrote about this on Breitbart. For those of you that don't know, I've written for Breitbart since 2009. The day Trump announced, I said he was going to win. And when Trump won in 2016, my article on Breitbart was Reagan's final farewell to the American people and how we were going to lose our Constitution and our democracy and our nation because of lack of education, lack of patriotism, what it means to be an American, not what it means to be a progressive left-wing Marxist communist, not to fundamentally transform America as Obama did and the left continues to do, but to his last message to the American people were the importance of talking about politics at the dinner table and in education, or we're going to lose our country. And that's what we find ourselves today. We have the most ignorant population that I could ever remember. And Reagan, and it's in our film, fought communism. Reagan fought the progressive left since the 1940s in Hollywood. And I'm digressing because that's my nature. But I think if you haven't seen the film Reagan, I know people that have seen it have been emotionally involved in the film and very moved by it because it's an America that we've let like sand grasp through our fingers.
Right. So tell me about your character in Reagan.
Well, in Reagan, I played Leonid Brezhnev, head of Soviet Union during Carter years. So Brezhnev was the longest Russian leader that they've had. Very interesting character. It's a little cameo of a part, but the interesting thing that I did when I did my research, and we have great, Dennis Quaid is playing Ronald Reagan. John Voight plays a Russian operative who's actually takes you through the events in Reagan's life from their intelligence on him. And Penelope Ann Miller plays, of course, Nancy Reagan beautifully. And but Brezhnev was a guy that, and Hollywood Reporter reported that I was going to play Brezhnev in 2015. And I sing. I don't know if many people know that I sing, but I sing. My album went to #6 on Billboard Jazz, and I travel the world. And I was in Estonia, Latvia, Sweden, Lithuania, many countries around the Baltics. And I was researching. I was asking people about Brezhnev. Now, Brezhnev gave a certain kind of posterity to the Soviet Union at the time. He was also very good friends with Nixon. This is not in the film, but this is me, because even when I do a part, if it's small, I want to be able to, I invest in that character as if it's the lead of the film, to play a portrait of him. And Brezhnev wanted détente. He wanted a partner in America. Him and Nixon were very good friends. Nixon gave Brezhnev a Lincoln Continental as a gift in the beginning of the 1970s. and Brezhnev took him for a ride. This is not in the film, but this is in my history of Brezhnev. And when I was watching the research on Brezhnev, the speeches he gave in San Clemente, California, a speech with Nixon. And in that speech, I waited till the very end. We would turn it off because the speech was over, the two of them, their interviews. And I said, I wonder if Reagan, who was governor of California, was in San Clemente. And all of a sudden, Reagan shows up with Nancy, the first people to meet Brezhnev. Now, that was important to me because in this initial script, they had that Brezhnev underestimated Reagan, blew him off as some actor, some lightweight. But that wasn't the case because Brezhnev, being the leader of the Soviet Union, being part of that intelligence apparatus for many years, understood that Reagan was fighting communism since the 40s in America and understood he would be a credible threat. And then they changed that aspect for me. And the film is, again, it's an ode to America, an ode to a president who had a wonderful peace through strengths, not peace through joy. And so and Brezhnev wanted détente, but there was no partner in Jimmy Carter. This is the left, the military-industrial complex, of course. There was no partner. And then by the time he was able to, Reagan took office, Brezhnev was hooked on drugs and hooked on alcohol from pain and other things, and then he died.
Yeah.
And he never got to really do the détente that then later on Gorbachev and Reagan worked out.
Wow. There's definitely more to definitely cover, and I'm looking forward to have a longer interview. Now, I think that when you talk about Reagan in so many ways, people need to just be re-educated to specifically what he was able to do in the country and be able to tell that story. What were the filmmakers thinking by putting out this film at this point in time? What, especially because do you think Reagan's become forgotten and it was a perfect time for the film to come out?
Well, it's curious because the film was supposed to come out way before. And of course, the director, who's a terrific director, he directed some other films, The Miracle Season and Soul Searcher. Sean McNamara, he has a film out now that's terrific about the Holocaust, of which I also did a Holocaust film that we'll talk about another time, perhaps, that's out right now. The producers, I think, wanted this to come out sooner, but it just didn't happen. And I think it was almost divine intervention in a certain way, because everyone expected Reagan to come out and make a $5 million box office. Well, it made double that. It was number one for a couple of weeks and did tremendously. It overperformed. And the left-wing critics, of course, didn't give us a lot of love, but the people loved the film. The Rotten Tomato rankings are like 98. They're very high. And people that see the film are very moved by this picture. And I think the timing is wonderful because, well, wonderful. Don't forget the assassination attempt on Donald Trump happened just prior to it coming out.
Yeah, perfect timing for sure. Now it's available. People can check it out.
Streaming services. It's Blu-ray and DVD and digital. November 19th. I have some 19th. It comes out. It's video on demand November 1st, 2024, and digital download right now, October 15th. You can get that as a digital download. I also have 2 songs in the film because I said I sing. I sing when Nancy and Ronald Reagan meet. I sing the song Nancy with the Laughing Face, which then takes us to Vegas in the late 50s, and I sing This Town. So, as well as Bob Dylan has some songs in it and other people.
Awesome. We appreciate it, Robert. Best place people can follow you. Where can they go?
They can go on Instagram at Robert Davi and on X at Robert John Davi. And it's not for the faint of heart because I am very outspoken and in terms of a independent conservative. I want Trump Vance to win. And being in Hollywood for 46 years, Sinatra brought me to Hollywood in 1977. I did my first film with Sinatra. And I've worked with many, many people, many stars. And the overriding aspect of Hollywood being left-wing is a stunning indictment, which we could talk about
Absolutely, another time.
At another time.
And hopefully produce a podcast